Let's see all the stuff we need for this recipe. You need a microwavable bowl, preferably with a handle. This is my favorite Pyrex measuring cup to use for this purpose. You will need a blender that can blend green chilies, garlic, and ginger into a fine paste. Next, you'll need few thalis like this one that you can spread the khandvi on the back using a steel tabetto. Instead of thali, my mom-in-law have shown me how to use the foil for this recipe. It's easy to use and cleanup is super easy too. Next, you will need something to spread the khandvi. I like to use this white stainless steel scraper for it, or you can use an Indian steel spatula, the tabetto. You will need a handheld blender like this, or use whatever else you like to blend everything together. Your best bet in mastering this recipe requires you to measure all your ingredients. Lastly, and most importantly, you need a heavy-duty whisk, not one of those flimsy ones. You need a sturdy one. Let's get this recipe going. This is not a vegan recipe, but it can be made vegan. More to come on that. You need yogurt, little sour yogurt. So taste it the night before if you're planning ahead, and leave the yogurt out overnight if it needs to be a little more sour. If not, you can always add a little bit of lemon to the yogurt to make it sour in this step. It doesn't need to be super sour. It should not smell bad or taste awful. So, it needs to be enjoyable, but just a little sour. We are using 1 cup of yogurt today, so let's start by measuring it. Okay, we have 1 cup of yogurt. Let's add that to our Pyrex bowl. Now we need 2 cups of water. I have already measured 2 cups of water, but I am going to pour this water in the yogurt measuring cup so I can rinse off all the yogurt from it. Don't like to waste anything. I'm adding 1 cup of water and we'll add the 2nd cup of water in a little bit. Let's use a hand blender and mix the yogurt and water to make chas. I'm just going to rest the hand blender in the measuring cup, which has the 2nd cup of water left in it. Next, we need to measure 1 cup of chana flour. I already have a 1/2 cup measurement in my chana flour container, so I'm just going to use that. I'm pressing the flour against the side to get rid of excess flour, so measure out 1 cup total of chana flour, chane ka atta. Put this away, and we need to blend the chana flour into our chas, the yogurt and water mixture. Now I'm adding water from that 2nd cup of water left in our measuring cup. Remember, we had measured out 2 cups of water in that cup. Use a spoon to scrape off the atta from the blender, or even if it's stuck inside or the sides, anywhere. Add remainder of the water from the measuring cup. By the way, water is cloudy because I rested my hand blender that was used to mix the yogurt in that measuring cup. Blend it all well. So far we have in this bowl 2 cups of room temperature water, 1 cup of yogurt, and 1 cup of chana flour. I am just going to rest my hand blender in there and add my spices. We need to add 1 teaspoon and then another 1/2 teaspoon of salt. I am using Morton iodized salt. You adjust the salt to your liking if you are using different brand of salt. We will add 1/8 teaspoon of hing, or a little more if you don't mind. So I forgot to turn on the camera for the next 2 steps as I had answered a call from a friend. So I added the haldi and the hing. That's all you had missed. Next, we'll need our small handy-dandy blender. I'm using 3 green Thai chilies today. If you like it more spicy, obviously, then add 4 or 5 chilies, or even more, up to you. We will need garlic and ginger in this recipe as well. I am going to grate it first and then show you the measurement. Let's peel the ginger. Get rid of my trash here if I can get it off the cutting board. Difficulties. Time to grate it so I can measure it for you. I absolutely love this fine cheese grater for grating my ginger and garlic, and of course my cheese. It's very sharp though. You can easily shred the skin off your finger if you are not being careful and paying attention to what you are doing. Let's see if we have enough ginger. We can measure it later. Looks like about 2 teaspoons, but we will need to measure. By the way, I usually put a towel under the cutting board to prevent it from slipping. I will do that now as I had forgotten to do it earlier. Let's grate the garlic. See how the cutting board is not sliding anymore when I'm pressing down on it with my grater? All right, let's measure our ginger. We need 2 teaspoons. We have 1 teaspoon plus another half teaspoon worth. And I have 1 teaspoon of garlic. I need a little more ginger and a little more garlic. So let me take care of that. Let's add remainder of the ginger and garlic needed for this recipe in our blender. We are going to use the chana flour yogurt water mixture that we have blended to help blend the chilies, garlic, and ginger. Don't add too much liquid to begin with. Just little at a time as needed to blend this properly. Go ahead and add to the bowl. Use some of the liquid from the side to rinse out the garlic, ginger, and chili mixture from the blender. Blend it all well and add to the bowl. Blend it and taste it. Of course, you have to taste it at some point. Add more chilies or garlic if you want. I added a little more turmeric. The turmeric color will truly come out once it gets cooked, so you can add it at a later point also. Now we need to prep for the final step, spreading of the khandvi. I pour little water on my counter and spread it using a paper towel. Don't wipe the water off completely. We'll place the foil on the counter and the water will keep it in place. It will prevent the foil from sliding when spreading the khandvi. We will start with microwaving the khandvi mixture bowl for 3 minutes. While that's heating, keep a hot plate and a whisk ready. There is no time to waste once you start microwaving this mixture, so you have to be prepared. This is how it looks. Once you take it out of the microwave, you'll see that the flour will attach to the sides. It would still be liquidy in the center. You need to whisk it. You need to detach the flour that has attached to the sides and whisk out the lumps. I whisked it well for about a minute. It will go back into the microwave for 2 more minutes. I usually write down on a piece of paper how many minutes I have to microwave. So 3, 2, 2, 2, and whatever else after that. This helps me to know how long I have to cook the mixture in the microwave, in my microwave to be specific, to get the chana flour cooked. If you cook too long, then the lumps won't break. And if you undercook it, then you will be able to spread it, but you won't be able to form the khandvi roll. They will fall apart. They won't roll. So, this will be the trial and error on your part. So, writing down how long you cooked it will help perfect your timing for this recipe in your microwave. I'm going to keep cooking 2 minutes at a time, then 1 minute towards the end, and then for only 30 seconds. You can see how the liquid batter is cooking and thickening. You can also taste the mixture after the first 6 minutes of cooking so that you can adjust the salt or turmeric. It takes about 10 minutes, 30 seconds in my microwave to cook. But my mother-in-law's, it takes about 11 minutes. And my mom's microwave, it takes about 13 minutes to cook. So it just depends on the microwave. By the way, when you are whisking, put some muscle in it. You have to break the lumps. You will end up with very small lumps that you will be able to press down with the spatula as you spread. but you must try your best to break the lumps with the whisk. And that's why we are cooking for a couple minutes, stopping, whisking, and repeating. Towards the 9-minute mark, you should spread a little of this mixture onto the foil while you're still cooking the batter in the microwave. This will be your test run to see if you can spread it and if a roll will form. Once the batter has cooked and thickened, like I'm showing, then you will have to move quickly to spread it. Take a little batter and place it on top. The width should be smaller than the spatula you're using. This step takes practice. You have to put even amount of pressure, keeping a spatula at the same angle, push down the batter, and take it as far as it goes. The spread will break if you put too much pressure at one spot. You can fix it with a little more batter if need be. And if you don't put enough pressure, then you will have thicker khandvi rolls. The pressure you put while it stays intact will determine how thin your khandvi is. The batter will cool down very rapidly, so there is no time to waste. By the time I'm done spreading the khandvi, first batch is ready to be cut and rolled. You can use a spatula or use back of a knife to make the cuts. Why back of the knife? Because you don't want to cut into the foil. You don't want the foil to be part of your khandvi roll. You want the starting point to be even. Pull up corner end up gently and then pull up the rest and start rolling. Even it out if you need to and then roll. I can only manage about 1 cup chana flour measurement at a time for spreading, so that's all I make when I'm making this recipe alone. I want to show you how thin this khandvi is. Check it out. You can see the finger through it. And how thin this khandvi will be will depend on you. How fast you worked once the batter was ready on spreading it, and also how much pressure you put in and how evenly you spread it. Stick with it, make the recipe a few times, and you'll get there, where you'll have amazingly thin khandvi rolls. Use the back end of a knife to lift the corner up and roll. If you want evenness at the end of the roll, then simply cut it using a knife. Rolling is the fun part. You can involve your kids in this activity. I remember doing this with my mom in India. My mom would spread the batter on the thali. We will cut and roll, and then she'll reuse the thali to spread more. Best way to enjoy khandvi is to eat it right away, of course. But if you need to store them in refrigerator, then place a paper towel in the bottom and then place them in a single stack in a container and refrigerate. Don't do the tadka, the tempering, until ready to enjoy. Moving on, toast some coconut flakes and then we will work on the tempering. Heat little oil, and next we will need mustard seeds, hing, and a spoon. Add mustard seeds to the hot oil and then let them splutter. Add a pinch of hing, turn off the stove. I usually let this oil cool for about 5 minutes before using, and sometimes I even make this tadka before I even start making the recipe because it just needs to be room temperature. Using the spoon, let's spread the tempered mustard seeds onto our khandvi rolls. Next, sprinkle toasted coconut and finish with some freshly chopped cilantro leaves. That's it. Easy peasy.